make that head out the
Right then, full-time at Ellen Roads. It is 1 apiece between Leeds United and Manchester United. A point apiece. Simon Grayson and Nigel Martin here with us in the Matchday Live studio. Simon, I'll come to you first. Another point on the board, first and foremost. Another game undefeated. What did you make of that game? It sort of sparked into life at one point, didn't it? And then could have snatched it at the end.
Yeah, we said the first half it was a little bit cagey, wasn't it? And not a great deal of many opportunities for both teams. But second half, it opened up a little bit more, and to get the first goal was always going to be huge, and we managed to do that, and we were above the south stand here and the place erupted in it. The unfortunate thing was we didn't hang on for any much time longer than we should have done. 4 minutes I think it was. If we'd got to 10-15, suddenly that clock gets a lot closer to finishing the game. But it's another point against the team that are up there challenging for European places, and the undefeated run continues. So take that at the start of the day, all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, 7 matches undefeated now. That's some tally, isn't it, for any team, regardless of where you are in the Premier League. That's pretty good going.
It is, and like we said after the last game, it sickens off those teams around you that have been losing, so frequently. It makes that gap a little bit bigger, and they look at that and think, they've got another point again today, and that frustrates them. Scrappy
at points, but a battling display as well, Simon. And Leeds are learning to battle in these games, and not just battle, but we talked at points in the season, early on in the season, while Leeds were being competitive, they were competing well, but maybe not getting the results. Now they're competing and battling and getting the rewards for it.
Yeah, well, that's what you've got to do. You've got to earn the right to get any points, because this Premier League is really hard, and you have to show whatever qualities that you've got in terms of the defensive unit, from the goalkeeper making a save early in that first half from a header. You saw Piroe, other defenders making blocks, so they do their jobs. Midfield players competing, being second balls. And then obviously you're trying to score goals with a bit of creativity, which we probably lacked a little bit, to be fair, in that first 60 minutes. Great goal that we ended up scoring from. But you've just got to accumulate, grind results out, and you keep getting points and points, because I'm telling you something, there's a lot of teams below us that haven't got that mentality, that strength to dig results out, and you've seen that last few games where teams have folded quite easily. I don't see that with this Leeds team.
Yeah, we were talking about how Daniel Farke's tactical decisions, his substitutions, everything he seems to do at the moment seems to be clicking into place. And it nearly did again with Joel Piroe right at the end. You talked about the South Stand going crazy when we scored. Everyone, for a split second, went crazy again. Then it was like, oh, it's just on the roof of the net. Great effort, though, from Piroe coming off the bench and trying to make an impact.
Yeah, it was. I was halfway through shouting yes. Yeah. And for that top corner, it wasn't far out, just a little too high.
OK, wasn't to be. But a really valuable point for Leeds. Of course, that stretches that gap down to West Ham to 8 points now with a goal difference. That makes it basically 3 wins, doesn't it? So a really valuable point. Let's catch up with our commentary team who brought you all the action today. Get their post-match thoughts. Brynlaw and Tony DeRigo.
Rich, yes, well, we're down at pitch side now. It's calming down a little. The away fans are heading towards the exits quietly currently. Reflecting on, well, both sets of fans reflecting on a game that perhaps could have gone either way, but we'll still have that little bit of a frustration, won't we, that it didn't go Leeds' way ultimately?
We will, because we took the lead. I said at the time the first goal, could be really important. And then there's a couple of times this season where we have gone ahead, or we've just started the second half, and we just switch off for those first few minutes. And once you get ahead, it's one of those moments as well. It's a mental challenge just to switch back on and keep going. And we didn't. To be fair to Manchester United, they've made 1 or 2 changes that made a difference for them. Xerxes came on and certainly changed the game in kind of their favour. But then we did the same. We made a few changes and it was back with us again. But it to and fro'd. But when we're in the lead, you think, oh, we just probably should have kept it.
The Leeds defensive unit will be frustrated that there wasn't a clean sheet in that game for them, won't they? Because they played really well as a group, didn't they?
They did, and you look at all the individuals there. Strauch, superb in the challenge. Piroe, wonderful. Bornau, again, only played his second game that he started. Looked very good and strong again. So they defended, manfully at times. But you always just felt, though, a bit of quality from Manchester United, and we'd be in trouble. Cunha, for me, looked like that man, and he scored the goal. But frustrating, but we said before, a lot of internationals still in this side, even though they're not firing on all cylinders. It's still a very good side. It was a good challenge, and we stuck at it well.
Once Leeds had got the goal, maybe a few more minutes, if that had been preserved, that lead had been preserved a few more minutes, and they got closer to the end, would that have changed the dynamic a bit?
It would have done, absolutely, and the longer those sort of things go, then you see a bit more desperation from the opposition, but they struck back well. They're the ones that showed a good reaction, and we didn't, so that will be the disappointment.
There was a glimpse at the end of the game in the closing stages with the changes that had been made of something slightly different in there for Leeds, wasn't there? Suddenly there was an extra couple of players maybe going forward, and we suspected throughout that if Manchester United could have been pressurised for a longer period, that there were some weaknesses that could be exploited in there, and just a glimmer of that perhaps towards the end of the game.
Absolutely, and Piroe came on and had a couple of chances. One was superb, but I think just by putting Gnonto there, Mecha getting closer to Calvert-Lewin, and some of the challenges at the end, I thought we finished the stronger in the end. We showed great desire, flying into those challenges, winning the balls back, and then on the attack again. And you're right, I thought we were on that front foot at the end, and we just couldn't quite squeeze it home. I just thought the left foot from Piroe might have just ducked into that corner, because that's what he's very good at, coming on and just finishing, and I thought that was his chance.
They've got to get themselves quickly back on it again, because Wednesday night doesn't seem any time away now after this run of games, does it?
And that's the worry, I think, with such a huge run of games that we've had. Things are going really well. This is emotional and physical, this game against Manchester United, and quickly we've got to turn it around again. So the boys are used to it kind of in the Championship, but this pace and tempo is a little bit higher in the Premier League, so it is going to be a tough game. I think it's all about recovery now, so the boys better get home, get an early night, good food, good recovery, and then go again.
We go again. Hopefully we might have a player to bring you some reaction from the dressing room shortly. We shall see. Very, very busy here. I have never seen so many people covering a Leeds United game as we've seen for this one today. Incredible. The world has come to Ellen Road.
Yeah, thanks, Bryn and Tony. There, Beeson is the #1 world holiday location, so it's understandable that people will want to do that. I found it interesting what they're saying there. Simon, I'll come to you from this from a managerial point of view. The game did kind of open up towards the end there. It actually became really scrappy, but in a frantic, kind of exciting way to watch, if not necessarily full of end product quality. But I guess that balance for Daniel Farke of solidity and getting yourself through stages of games to be able to maybe open up, and when you possibly pull the trigger on that and say, right, let's go, let's have a go, let's put on the players, because if you go too early, of course, the game becomes more open and therefore you're more susceptible to potentially conceding. Yeah,
look, from a manager's perspective, when you're making the substitutions, you want them to have an impact, and certainly Joe Piroe did. The match would look lively without too much end product down that left-hand side. He favoured coming inside a little bit more, but they all did make an impact as well. Tanaka and Gnonto came on as well, and he changed his system. It wasn't as if Daniel was happy just to go like for like. He ended up going 4-2-3-1 to set the game, but playing from the shape of the team to make sure you don't get done on the counter-attack. Yeah, it was a bit of a mayhem sort of last 10 minutes through probably lack of quality or people getting a little bit anxious, a little bit nervousness, giving the ball away. But as Tony said there, we looked like we were the team that were going to win it at the back end. We just couldn't find that little bit of break or that little bit of quality that was needed to go and win this game, because if we'd won in the last few minutes, God, who knows what this... Well, we do know what this
we know
place
exactly
would have been
what it would have gone like. But just to press you on that point again, in terms of what we're seeing now, Daniel Farke now has different ways he can set this team out to go and play. He's got options. They've now proved that they can do that over a period of time. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. He can make those tweaks. He can change it, and it can give oppositions different things to worry about.
Like, I like him for that, because he's been very sort of in his ways of playing 4-2-3-1 in most of all his time, more or less here. Cummins played the 3-5-2-1, 3-5-2 for large parts of this last month or so, but he still tweaked it when he felt he needed to. Now, sometimes when I've managed against other coaches, and you knew that they only had one plan, and that was to play a certain system, and you could sort of find ways of breaking them down. Now I think Daniel's sort of seen that he has got the players to go and do a plan B with a different change of system, revert back to a 4, go back to a 3. And I think it keeps everybody on the toes, the opposition especially.
I believe we can get you some reaction. I think Jakobiol is down pitch side with Bryn and Tony. Let's get his thoughts after today's 1-1 draw.
We have Jaka with us. So Jaka, how do you feel at the end of a 1-1 draw against Manchester United?
Yeah, so I would say. I think we are not so satisfied with this draw today. I think we wanted to win. I think we felt like before the match we could win this game. We had the right energy and everything. But yeah, we were missing today a little bit on the pitch, a little something more, and yeah, it showed at the result at the end.
Does that added to that when you take the lead in the game as well?
Yeah, as well, for sure. It's always the first minutes after the goal where you have to be a little bit more concentrated, a bit more compact. We didn't do that today. We conceded really quickly after the goal, and yeah, at the end 1-1. Yeah, we take it, we go forward.
How did you find the atmosphere? I mean, me playing in these games was always very, very special. How did you find it?
Yeah, for sure. But like honestly, I was focused on the game today. For sure, like our fans, they're always here for us, not only for Manchester United. The game is always incredible to play here on Aaron Road, so it was fantastic again. Yeah, I'm just a little bit sorry that we didn't win at the end to make everyone a little bit more happy. But yeah, it is what it is. We take the point and we go forward.
In the run of games that you've been unbeaten, that's included fixtures against Chelsea and Liverpool and Manchester United amongst others. Does that give you a sense that you're moving very much in the right direction at the moment?
Yeah, I would say so. For sure, today also we missed some key players for us. It's a big one as well for sure. And yeah, but already like this, I think we showed again that we can compete against everyone. So when we are full and yeah, like 100% healthy, I think we can play really our football against everyone and hope to win at the end. And yeah, if we will continue to show these performances, to improve the performances, I think we will have a good season ahead.
Well done, Jaka. Thank you.
Excellent. Well done. Well played. Well played. Good stuff.
Jakobiol with the Bryn Law pat on the back. There you go. That means you've had a good performance if you get one of those.
It does if you get one off Bryn.
Oh, one of those, absolutely. Interesting to hear him saying, you know, they're dissatisfied with the result. They wanted to go and win that. He said, we're sorry that we didn't go and win it. But it tells you a lot about how far this team has come in the last 6 weeks or so, that they're looking at a game like this and talking in that way.
Yeah, they look very positive. They obviously thought that they were going to go and turn Manchester United over today, which is a great mindset to have going into the game. If they could have kept things a little bit tighter just after we scored, that's always a dangerous time. If we could have just maybe, like Simon said, kept it tighter for another 5 minutes, then I think Man United would have really struggled to have broken us down.
Yeah, and one of the things we were noticing during the game is, the fans singing Jakobiol's name tells you exactly the job that he's done, because you earn that, don't you? That doesn't just happen. You earn that, and we've seen that with a few of the players that have come in to the team. Suddenly the Ellen Road crowd are showing their appreciation in the way that they only can do, which is singing your name.
Well, I think one of his qualities is basically defend that 18-yard box, and he does it really well. He heads things, he's had a few assists in terms of goals, but he's made 2 or 3 really important blocks today, and that's what you want from your centre defenders, that big and strong, make sure you do as much as you can do. And I think he touched on it there as well, the mentality that they're disappointed that they've not won the game as well, and that speaks volumes of the club and the team and this group of players at this moment in time. And I think the credit that you can give to the defenders at this moment in time is that when they do switch to a different system, they've been very coached very well. They seem to know what they're doing. They come up when they need to do, the press, the drop. They're well organised, and I think having that organisation and determination not to concede easy goals is going to bode well for the future. Of course, having a little bit sort of been switched on a little bit more often, but it's the Premier League. You get punished for any lapse of concentration.
We're hoping to speak to Daniel Farker at some point. As soon as he's available, we'll bring him to you. But let's just take a look at the opening goal. It's a great goal as well. I mean, Manchester United will look at this thinking this could be avoidable. But in terms of what Brendan Aaronson had to do and how he took it and how he finished it, Nigel. It really was a great finish from him.
Yeah, it was very cool, very cool. You know, when you're running through sort of one-on-one with the keeper, players chasing you, it's very easy to panic and scuff your shot or go a little bit high. But, you know, it was just a ball over the top that he got onto first, got his body in the way and tucked it away really nicely.
Yeah, Simon, you see that as a manager of a player who was out the team for a bit and then has come back into it, has started offering goals and assists. You're thinking, fantastic.
Yeah, composure when he gets through in them areas. It was just nothing but really down the sides, down the channel. But this is what he does. He chases, lost causes, catches the Man United defence off guard. And once he's in them areas, it's quite easily to hit the goalkeeper, miscue it or whatever. But he's found the bottom far corner with a real accurate finish. So, yeah, look, the last few weeks, he's shown, I think, what he's capable of doing with it. We all know about his enthusiasm and his work rate. But he's actually adding now his assists and goals, and if it had stayed at 1-0, he'd have become certainly an icon of this football club, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Nigel, you know, Daniel Farke did take him out of the team for that small period of time. So do you sometimes need to do that as a manager for a player, just take the pressure off a bit, reset, give positive messages, work hard, and then you'll get another opportunity?
Yeah, that's good management, isn't it? Good man management. That's, you know, seeing a player might be struggling at the time, you know, things weren't coming off for him that he was trying on the pitch, and just took him out of the firing line for a game or two, and then, you know, probably built on the confidence in training and everything, put him back in, and since then he's been flying. And, you know, that's player mentality as well. You know, he's had to go away, have the disappointment of not being in the team, and then coming back and saying, right, I'm going to show you what I can do, and actually delivering.
And I think that goes back to the mantra that we have at this football club, side before self, that you not everybody can play every week, but when you drop out, you've got to make sure you're prepared for when you come back in, and those that are out the team, be prepared when you get your opportunity. So that's very positive attitude and mental strength to have.
Brendan Aaronson had 3 minutes in his head to write his own headlines about scoring the winner against Manchester United. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and I guess, as you've mentioned, Tony was saying there, the frustration is conceding so quickly. 3 minutes it was, and then they're back in the game at 1-1. So again, Nigel, a goal you felt maybe could be avoided from the Leeds point of view.
Yeah, it was good play by Manchester United. They knocked it around one touch, which is always difficult to defend, but the ball down the side, I think Lucas gets a little bit drawn towards it. It's one or the other. You've either got to go all the way and try and get the block in, or maybe sort of get the brakes on a little bit earlier and be 2 or 3 yards further back, and you'll certainly have time to react to, you know, what in the end was a you know, like a tame shot, but he knew all he had to do was get it past, you know, Lucas from a close range to score.
It's funny because we were showing the goal that Jermaine Beckford scored at the Stretford end, didn't we, in that game. There is, forget the first touch, you know, it will take any opportunity to mention how bad that was from Jermaine. But it's a sort of actually similar position, really, and the goalkeeper's in the same sort of area, and he's finished it well.
Yeah, look, he gets into that area and it's instinctive striker play. There's nothing else he needs to do apart from hit it first time. If the goalkeeper, I'm no goalkeeping coach, and you're better off talking to Nigel about that if he stays probably a little bit deeper, then he might have to take another touch. Centre-back gets across and maybe gets a block. He made up his mind for him to take it as early as he did, unfortunately, and again, just so quickly, 4 minutes after us scoring, just knocked the wind out of our sails, didn't it, unfortunately?
It is difficult for the goalkeeper in that situation because you want to come and close that space down and get the block in. So I totally understand in his mindset, you know, he's got a high starting position, he wants to get out and get the block in. But when you realise that you're going to get caught halfway, you've really got to get the brakes on quickly and try and get a step back in to actually make a save, you know, if that's the type of finish he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's always loads of cliches in football, so, you know, you're trying to steer clear from them, but one of those cliches is you're vulnerable when you've just scored and stuff. But I just wondered, in a game like today, and Brendan Aaronson scoring when he did, that release of noise and, you know, effervescence in the crowd and excitement, how hard is it to remain in those moments after it? You always see, and Sam Lasky, you always see managers on the timeline go, right, just, you know, calm down, relax. How hard is it to maintain that when you've gone through a moment of elation as they did?
Yeah, look, it's not easy. We've both been in teams where you've scored big moments in games and the adrenaline is flowing, but then you need probably the mental side to come into it and say, right, or a leader on the pitch. We're missing Joe Rodon today. You're missing Ampadu today as well, Ethan. That they then get the message to the group of players and say, look, we've got to switch on. We've got to learn our lesson from things that have happened so far this season in similar circumstances. So we've got to switch on. Make sure we're solid. Don't be giving them opportunities. And maybe we haven't quite got them leaders to galvanise the group at this moment in time. But it's a learning curve. And I said before, when you give the opposition in the Premier League, and Man United have got some good players, that type of chance, they don't often miss too many times. Championship, you get away with it. In the Premier League, they take them chances.
Yeah, you talked about Ethan and Joe not playing today, which we all knew were going to be losses. We're not sure when Joe Rodon's going to be back. Of course, Ethan will be available for the next game. That was a one-match suspension, and you felt like he'd been on the sidelines today, heading every ball and trying to put in a tackle from wherever he was sat watching the match. But to make it all the more impressive, in terms of the squad, and you go back to the recruitment in the summer, the players that they brought in, that they've all come in, again, Bornau again plays today. James Justin popped up all over the place. There's a really good squad of players there that Daniel Farke can tap into. Yeah,
they're putting their hands up, aren't they? They're making the manager's job, difficult. If somebody drops out of the team and you get your opportunity, you've got to try and perform. And the guys that have stepped in have done well over the last 2 or 3 games. We are missing the more experienced players. Ethan today, like you said, and Joe, but. The guys coming in are certainly doing a really good job, and just saying to the manager, I am capable of this. So. Yeah, recruitment's been good, and the players look as though they're more comfortable now in the Premier League than perhaps they were right at the beginning. They seem to have accepted and know what it is to play at this level now.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? Because after the Liverpool game, we heard from Anton Stack, and that's exactly what he was saying. It was actually there's been a bit of a process of learning the Premier League, because so many of them have not had that experience before. Is that what we're seeing now? Is that why they've been able to put this run undefeated together? If you're not going to win a game, make sure you don't get beat.
Well, it's a big step from the Championship to the Premier League. It's a bigger step than people realise, but ultimately as well, when you've got new players coming to a football club from different parts of the world, it's never easy to settle in so quickly. So if you combine the two together, it's not easy, but it's a process on and off the pitch that players are now feeling at home. They're feeling comfortable with themselves. They're getting confidence. The City second half performance is a big catalyst for us all. Obviously, we lost the game, but there was real heart and spirit and a desire to get something out of the game. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, but the performance against such quality has been the springboard to keep building to the point of now. I think them players are going out, and no matter who they're playing, whether Premier League champions or Manchester United today, feeling that we can get something out of these games, where maybe the first 6-8 weeks of the season, it wasn't probably the case.
Let's take a look at some of the other opportunities from the second half, because there were some as well for both teams, whether it was Noah Okafor's overhead kick or Joel Piroe right towards the end there. Seshko had an opportunity, Matej Cunha hit the post, so there were opportunities for the teams. Nigel just took us through those opportunities that came, and as he has done in so many times, Gabby Goodmanson as well sets the tone on a lot of things and just came in and thought, I'll lash this one.
Yeah, no, he's been a great signing, hasn't he, defensively, but going forward. But he's taking on the long throw duties and following in on one of his long throws and having a shot for a tight angle. You'd expect the keeper to save that, really.
Anton Stack with his delivery, particularly from that side, Simon, looked dangerous.
Yeah, the other side, the outswinging ones didn't quite hit the mark where it needed to be, but putting it in underneath the goalkeepers, get plenty of bodies. We're a big team at this moment in time, and you see the goalkeeper flapping, gets away with it on another day. Calvert-Lewin just maybe gets on the end of it, and that's probably just sums up Dominic's game today. It was nearly, but not quite.
Noah Okafor with a lovely bit of sort of improvisation there, really. Back to goal, Nigel, and to get the shot away and force a save out the keeper.
Yeah, it was quality, really, wasn't it? The ball's close to him there, and he's just put it back over. It's definitely sort of sneaking in that far corner, and the goalie's made a half decent save.
This was interesting, wasn't it, with Cunha? Because when it left his boot, we thought, that's going well wide, but it was curling, and it nearly curled all the way.
Well, when you look at the angle that we're going to see now, it looks like he's set it really wide, which he has done, and thinking, it's hit the other part of the goal, which has got nowhere near it. But to be fair, he's got enough whip on it, and to be fair to Lucas Perry, he's got across, and I think even if it would look like it was going to nip in at that near post area, he'd have made the save.
And then right at the death, really, right towards it, Joel Piroe comes on. And you mentioned this as well, he's so good at that, isn't he? Especially with the first time shot. He's always looking to to get that away. And Nigel, it was so close.
Yeah, I mean, to take that on first time, it shows confidence. Having, he's probably been on the pitch 2 minutes. Probably one of his first touches, and to take that on, he was very, very close to being.
It was a perfect angle, wasn't it? The left footer coming inside. He just wanted to start it a little bit wider to bend in, and it would have been one way to finish the game. But again, he made an impact when he came off the bench.
The table looks like this then. Bournemouth in 15th place with 23 points. Leeds now a point behind that in 16th, and then it is that gap to Forest of 4 points. They're on 18, and to West Ham it's 8 points. West Ham and Forest play each other, both coming off a defeat. West Ham having just lost to Wolves as well, Simon. I mean, both those teams go into that game thinking, I mean, what's more than a must win? I don't know. Well, is there a level above that?
Is there a way that both teams can lose? Look, and that's the pressure that we're putting on these teams now. That it's certainly a must-win game for both of them. But I think for West Ham especially, if Forest win that, they get closer to us, and the sort of the struggle that West Ham are having both on and off the pitch could be very difficult. So, yeah, it's a huge game. But we go to Newcastle again, another big game for us, but another game we'll draw confidence from today's and the previous results to try and get something up there again. Okay,
Daniel Farke not quite ready to join us, so we'll bring all that post-match from Daniel Farke, his interview, his thoughts on the game. That will, of course, head on to the Leeds United app, so make sure you have that downloaded and ready to go. Nigel Martin, pleasure being with you in the studio again today, and Simon Grayson, who remains still the last Leeds United manager to beat Manchester United. I didn't want to say that at the end of today, Simon.
No, neither did I.
Oh, shut up. Behave yourself. You are not kidding anyone. OK, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you Wednesday night for the trip to Newcastle.
Red Bull gives you wings.